Hello and welcome to 5-Minute Math. Today we are looking at the Algebra 1 concept of writing exponential functions. This is standard A.9C in the great state of Texas, and we are using item number 11 of the 2021 released STAAR test. If you haven't done so already, please go ahead and take a moment to pause the video, work this problem out on your own, unpause it, and we will look at our answers together. So, we have a graph here, and as you can tell here, the graph is decreasing. It looks like it's the number of video or game consoles sold, and you notice that it started up here in the 25 millions, and then it's kind of gone down here since 2009. It's decreasing. So, we need to find a function that best represents that. So, let's look at our standard form. Y equals a times b to the x. Each of these terms means something. So this a is going to be your, many things. If we're dealing with compound interest and investment, savings accounts, it's going to be your principal. Another way to think of it would be just your starting amount. So if sometimes we'll see this in bacterial growth or population growth or decay, and it will say, at this date there were this many of the creature, and then it increases or decreases. So there's always a starting amount. And we could also view this as our y-intercept, because what happens when x equals 0? That's the y-intercept, right? When the graph crosses the y-axis, when x is 0. Well, look what happens if we put this a times b. If I replace that x with a 0, that's a times b to the 0. Well, anything times 0 is just 1, so it's just a times 1. So what it becomes is y equals a. So if x becomes 0, y equals a. So the a can be our y-intercept as well. This b is going to be our rate. It's going to be our growth rate if it's increasing. In this case, we've already identified it is decreasing. So we're going to call it a decay rate. And then this x right there, it's some type of step. In this case, it's number of years. A lot of times it is going to be time, days, weeks, months. All right, so this is decreasing. Now, if you know something about this b right here, right, so the fact that it's decreasing is going to influence this b right here. But here's a little trick to remember. If your b is greater than 1, it is going to be a growth rate. If your b is less than 1, it is actually a decay rate. And as we can see, we're getting smaller and smaller. We are decreasing. So that means this is a decay rate, which means my b has to be less than 1. And take a look. These three right here, A, C, and D, are all greater than 1, which means there's really only that one option, B. Now, how do we prove this? Well, let's start with A. We need the y-intercept, and they give it to us right here. When x is 0, y equals 25.5. So we're going to say this. We're going to say g of x equals 25.5. And we notice that's only going to be in B or D. So we can get rid of A, we can get rid of C. How do we find our B? Well, there's two different options. One is going to be, since these are steps of 1, look at the x's, 0, 1, 2. What you can do is you can take your y and divide it by the previous y. So 9 over 18 divided by 15/13. Or you could take your 15.3, excuse me, not 15/13, divide that by 25.5. Either one of those is going to get you 0.6. Since these are steps of 1, take each y and divide it by the previous one. Or you can plug the numbers in, right? You can say g of x, and let's just say this 15.3 is going to be that g of x equals, and then we know that it's going to be 25.5 times b, and then our x is going to be 1. So then you end up solving for it, and it's 15.3 divided by 25.5, right? If you're solving for that b. So either way, our answer here is B.